Hi, I'm Eric Schoenberg, editor-in-chief of MoneyWatch.com. Now, my office doesn't always look like this, but I wanted to take a closer look at a small portion of some of the SEC documents now housed on this website. Of course, I think they're interesting, but then again, I work here. But don't take my word for it. Let me introduce you to three people who've really made a difference in their careers, not to mention their balance sheets, by looking closely at what public companies reveal about themselves. Jim Chanos is first. He's a profitable short seller on Wall Street. And there's Jim Mahar, a professor of corporate finance at St. Bonaventure University. And finally, Alexis Glick, former anchor and VP at Fox Business News.
SEC filings are really, really important.
We live on SEC filings, so I love them.
They are interesting to look at, and they provide a lot of information.
Okay, I'll admit SEC documents aren't exactly poetry.
They're the most dry documents in the world.
They can be wonky, and parts of them are very, very complicated.
It's like being hit with a high-pressure hose. There's just pages and pages.
But our experts don't let that stop them from mining the documents for truly priceless data. Then neither should you. Chanos particularly likes to dig into the footnotes. That's where his company, Kinnikos Associates, found early signs that something fishy was happening at Enron, the Texas energy corporation that collapsed in the wake of an accounting scandal.
Most noticeably, when we picked up the documents for the first time, were an odd series of disclosures in the footnotes to the financial statements, which is usually where a lot of the bad things are happening. They're buried in the footnotes. Companies will always put their best foot forward in their earnings statement, but the details behind that earnings statement are what's interest to us. And in the footnotes, the one glaring thing that just set off alarm bells here in our shop was a paragraph that described a set of companies that had been set up by Enron, which were being run by a senior executive of Enron, but with outside investors, and they were set up to do business with Enron, included trading and securities with Enron. So right away, I mean, a common sense approach to that would be, how could a senior officer of Enron run these partnerships and exercise a fiduciary responsibility to the partners while still being a senior executive of Enron?
Alexis Glick likes to read up on the background of the company brass.
When you look at the management history of a corporation, you need to know if there have been management shakeups. Why have there been management shakeups? If a CEO has been in a position for 6 years or 30 years, I mean, you'll learn fascinating things. Jim Skinner at McDonald's, this man has been with the company for 37 years. Well, maybe that's an appealing company to invest in because the CEO, while only been the CEO for 7-8 years, he's been with the company his entire career. Muhtar Kent at Coca-Cola, another example. If you see a lot of changes in the management suite, that's a sign that the company is having a really hard time either A, keeping the management in place, or B, that they're having issues with the company, whether it's growth or financials or things of that nature.
Professor Mahar points the students in his corporate finance classes towards the filings known as 8Ks.
One of the more interesting is the 8Ks, and that's a current report, and it's essentially any big news item that is material to the firm, and it just appears when news appears. I think the 8K, if you were looking for just, gee, that's interesting, is the best.
Your definition of, gee, that's interesting may vary, but when it's your money at stake, you want to know what a company is really up to. And you can find it all right here on CBSMoneyWatch.com.